Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to give it a few minutes here, Squirrel, because I don't want to give this warning twice. And this is really something I need to give out and talk about before people come in. If they do come in at all, that's fine. This is a pretty intense video I'm fixing to make, and I don't want anybody to miss the warning. So we're just gonna sit out here for a second. I don't want to miss anybody on the warning. It's a big deal. This is not going to be like any video you've ever seen from me, that's for sure. And that's okay. But you'll live and you'll survive it, and you'll learn information you never heard before. Because there's a big story that's being left out. And we're going to cover that here. I was hoping, since I put my timeline up, that, people would be in here before I started. I'm going to wait a few, just so that I don't have to do that twice. Because this needs a trigger warning. And I'm going to wait and give it that. Looks like somebody keeps popping in and out. Like they're waiting for something else. But, this is not just something I'm showing on the screen. I need to give a warning verbally as well. But if, people are going to come in after it and then, start complaining, that's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Or should I just go ahead and start, Squirrel?
I'll just start.
Okay. Then here we go. For the ride. Maybe by the time this and we get another 30 minutes, I'll be here and I can give the warning again. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start.
Now I know that I can't make you stay, but where's your heart? But where's your heart? But where's your... And I know there's nothing I can say to change that part, to change that part, to change. So many bright lights to cast a shadow, but can I speak? Is it I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me, with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me, with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or dead. 'Cause I see you lying next to me, with words I thought I'd never speak. Awake and unafraid, asleep or nothing you can say could stop me going home.
Hello. I want to make sure right now that I give this warning out to everybody that what I'm going to be talking about is going to be pretty intense, and it's going to be from a different side. We are going to be talking about the Texas shooting, but not any side that you've ever heard from or anything they're showing on the news. So I'm putting this trigger warning out there from you. Nothing is meant to be disrespectful to anyone. Definitely not the children who died. But I know there's a part of this story that I was discussing yesterday on my live with another viewer, and there seems to be a part that's missing, and I think I found that part of exactly what's missing and what is being hidden from everyone. And it's a very valuable part that I think is what led up to all of this. So I just want to warn everybody that you're going to hear and see some things that are not going to sit well with you. This is not from the same side that everyone else is coming from. So please forgive that and just try to be patient and understanding. The warning will remain up in the corner throughout the whole thing. If you need to step away for a bit and come back, that is okay. I totally understand that. It was hard for me to do the research on this. So with that said, I would like to do a moment of silence for the victims of the Texas shooting. Let me find my thing right here. Hold up one second. I would like to play this for the students.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والسماء ذات البروج.
Followed followed by a moment of silence. Let's begin. I start this story about Santos. I'm sorry. I'm going to start this story where it began. At his grandma's house. But the real story is going to be harder than you guys think. Hold on, let me get this off the top here. Oh, that's not it. I'm touching the wrong button as usual. Just give me 1 second, please. Thank you. Gotta put my warning back up. Okay. I know how you all feel about this young man you're looking at on this screen right here. And this is a picture of his grandmother and the small domestic home that they lived in. They always film it from the front, and I couldn't even get a very good picture of it. But did the best I could. This is a very small home. Believe it or not, everywhere on the internet, this is either this shot or a face shot is all that you will see of a picture of him, period. No other pictures can't be found. So I'm looking for something in my book. We're looking. So this is Salvador Ramos. Everybody keeps saying he's a grown man and 18, but in this particular picture, he's not. He's 17. Um, he was just 2 to 3 days of making 18 when this event happened. And in fact, this is where the story started. It started right here with him, his grandmother, and their small home. I'll cover the time of events for everybody. Like I said, this right here is a timeline basically of the events of how they unfolded. This was his grandmother in his home. He lived with his grandmother, and he didn't live with her for a long time at all. He lived with her for just maybe 2 months. Starting prior to that, he lived at his mother's home, not far away. Um, he just turned 18, maybe 2 days, 3 days at best. He did not have a driver's license, and he really did not know how to drive. That's very important to know that. And this here shows where his grandmother's house and his grandfather lived. His grandmother's grandfather lived in this small home. It's very small. I could not get a good picture of it from the sides of it, but it is very small. And there is another person, another kid that lives with them, a female that they took in as well. So they lived in excuse me, he slept on a mattress on the floor. So he went from 1 to 2. This is his grandmother's truck that he took. If you look on the ground, you will see a black bag. This is something he put down on the ground and left along with one of his rifles. He did not take both rifles in with him. He left one here on the ground behind. Um, And then this is the school aerial layout, which is important to know as well, because the area, I keep forgetting you can't see my mouse. But this area around the long black line around by number 2 that goes up into this parking lot, the black parking lot with the white square, that's the sidewalk that he cut across this parking lot, went along shooting in the windows of the back of the school here, all the way till he got to the white entry of that sidewalk that you see that's echoed into the back of the school. You can see the blue handicap marks on the driveway of the school. So that sidewalk right there you see with the big white square is where he entered the school. So this is pretty important to remember, because the way they were telling the story, everything turned out totally twisted around for everybody, and they couldn't forget where he was. Now, let me put it better where you can see it. This is that long white hallway, and this is, the school looks totally different from the areas that you can see from above and on the back side. This is not the entry point. The entry point is more over there where all the people are standing at the top of the picture. This is not the entry door over here. A lot of people were confused about that, but the parking lot and the trees on the other side of this building is where the entry is going to be made into this last building up by the warning sign on the screen. That is the building he entered. This is him right here. A lot of people kept saying he has a mask on. He does not have a mask on. It was just the way the picture was taken. But this is him. A big part of this I want to stop and talk about is the original timeline. So I'm going to leave this picture up here while I discuss the original timeline, which has changed several times. At the beginning, there were parents who were seen breaking through the yellow police tape and yelling at officers to go into the building. This would be after he entered. So they were saying, well, actually, he hasn't entered yet. So let's not talk about that timeline just yet. Let's back up here. On the other side of this building, he's going to come down here where all these cars are parked. In this tree line, he's going to run up this way and go right into the back where all these people are parking. They're lined up on this sidewalk over here. And there he is in the red circle. And so there's a timeline of events I want to cover, but I'm not going to cover it just yet. Just give a good look at this young man right here on this screen. And bear with this video. Bear with these songs and everything. I'm building a case for you to feel about. There are no police on scene at this moment. He's all on his own.
Now come on, come all to
In this picture, this is where he disappears into the building. Seconds before this, he's limping. So at this point from the original timeline, this is where I'm going to start to explain how the timeline has gone. There's a bunch of parents on scene actually outside. If anybody is, once he's entered the building, please remember he has been firing at least since he got out of the truck. There were two people at the funeral home when he crashed into the ravine who were going to try and help him, but he shot at them. He did not kill them or wound them. I think maybe he wounded one, but that's still not clear at this time still. You have some people that say he did, some people say he didn't. He was firing at the buildings for the school when he was running across the grass. And he was firing basically the whole time. So he is engaging in firing from the time he, you know, enters the school and doesn't stop. The last official account that I heard from a live feed was that he entered over 100 rounds um, once he entered the building. So, and this is what the parents are all hearing: 100 rounds is a lot of rounds. They never heard the firing stop. So the parents were saying to, um, actually, a man named Angel led Esmond saw breaking through the yellow tape that the police put up, and he was yelling at the police to go inside the building. It's already been an hour, and they can't get the kids out. An hour. There's a reason for this hour. Just hold on a bit to that. Keep that thought in your mind about that hour. Um, and on another video, um, the officers, while this firing is going on, now you have to keep that in your mind. There is gunshots firing the whole time of what I'm going to tell you. The officers restrained the citizens outside, the parents who are in a downright uproar and are trying to get into the school by any means necessary, and the cops who are not really wanting to enter into it. The officers were seen restraining a woman, and she said, why let the children die? They're shooting in there. Um, and an officer said to her, "We got guys going in to get the kid. They're working." Well, that's easy to say to parents standing outside who ain't really seeing that happening when they're hearing the kind of rapid gunfire they're hearing, and well, they were they weren't going to give up. The parents just were not giving up outside. They were upset that they were not moving in. They even brought up charging into the school with several other parents. They said, let's just rush in because the cops aren't doing anything like they're supposed to do. More could be done, was the overall majority. They actually, on a timeline, the suspect crashed his truck. Well, it was his grandma's truck at 11:28. He jumped off the passenger side. He went in there and he had a bag of ammo, and he left the bag of ammo. He walks around and is engaging the whole time. The school was unlocked. This one door. I heard this morning that a teacher had unlocked the door to let in fresh air. But then when she heard all this firing going on and the wrecking of the truck, I heard she went back in the school to get her cell phone, I guess, to call in the wreck that she had heard, and the gunfire. But she definitely did not get that door closed back at all. um it said that the let me check my notes right here. An hour had passed before the U.S. border tactical team could even breach the schoolroom. So let's understand this. Despite, he's engaging, he's walking, he climbs a fence, he's injured. From the time he gets out of the truck, walks across engaging fire, goes into an open door that the teacher left in, goes into the school's ragged, zigzag hallway. He's firing the whole time. When he goes into this classroom, it's a joining one too. It has two classrooms together. He is firing. He even makes the statement of, let me see if I can find it in my notes. That y'all are gonna die. He just straight up says it. No doubt about it. If you're wondering why it took so long, well, this tactical team that they're waiting on is coming from San Antonio. It's an hour away. I don't know why they specifically needed this tactical team to breach. They had tons of cops everywhere, total tons, but they were not going to be able to just shoot out a window and shoot him, because when he went into the school, I don't think I have that graph up, or a graph of the school that you would need to see. It's more interior, deeper. If I showed this, that's not going to help. I don't have a way to make it interior. Okay, let's just use this picture as an example. If he went in this door right here at the end, let's just assume it was that door for example purposes only. He went from one hallway to another that breached around, that kind of took him to the middle where the lighter part of the roof is. In the middle of the roof here, it's a lighter portion. He took hallways that led him there. It was very intricate part of the where the classrooms were conjoined. But what it took, when they say he took a left and then another left, is what it's talking about. So he's not exactly on the corner of the building like you would think. Um, Let me get a drink. Okay. Now, we don't. So we're inside. He's inside now. Now I want to go over the security system for this school, because we've been left in the dark of what this school has for a security system. So far, we're thinking they don't have one because there's a door open. I don't know if the lady died that opened that door at all. I don't know her status, and I'm glad I don't. But um, there was a young student, and this is something that caught me weird also, was that everyone in there, like I'm going to talk about the 10-year-old girl who makes a cell phone call while he's in the room with her. And a lot of kids made calls before they died. So it's a very it seems like a not a long time went by, but there was a lot of calls, a lot of shooting going on in there, and a lot of kids saw some really horrible stuff. A little kid, a little lady, on she was 10. She got her first cell phone on her 10th birthday, and learned from two other students that tried to call 911 during the shooting. She said she just died trying to save her classmate, and she just wanted to save everybody. But what you need to know, and I assume that I haven't heard much from the police about the security system. No one has. But I'll tell you what they do have. The school district spent over $450,000 on security system at the Uvalde school system. Had a safety plan that included its own police force, social media monitoring, and a threat reporting system to provide safe and secure environment for students. The school district website has 21 different measures for the safety of the school, ranging from an app for reporting bullying to physical security, like fencing and a buzz-in door system. And it's not clear what the degree the plan was developed with active shooters in mind. To me, this sounds like Fort Knox. No one should have ever been able to get in here. Okay, so the district spent about $200,000 on security and monitoring services in 2017. And the figure rose to more than $450,000 in 2017. Okay, now we said they have 4 police officers, including the chief of police and 2 district officers who patrol entrances, parking lot, and the perimeters of the campus. Yet the resource officer was not on duty that day for any reason whatsoever. How did that happen? Heard this morning that the resource officer came driving down the road and missed the suspect because the suspect was hiding behind some cars. Blew right by him. So and he wasn't. So the security resource officer wasn't at school, and he drove past him. Okay. And the security plan also talks about lockdown procedures. So who is this kid? Who is this mastermind of getting away from the police? Let's think about that now. We have this 2-day-old, 2-day to 18 years old kid, and he's outsmarted the police totally. And yet, this is not what you're hearing from kids say about him. That he is not smart. How bad is this place? Wouldn't want to go to school there. So let's get into the deeper part of this. We now know the school has a top notch security system, apparently, that failed. We have um, just a timeline that was a just insane. Okay, it's just insane. Let's just call it what it is. Okay, and now let's cover some really important stuff. This kid. This let's find out who this kid is. Okay, because no matter what news coverage, what news place you call, they're not telling us anything. So I'm going to tell you what we know about him. Every bit of information about this kid, I have it. So, um, Daniel Rodriguez, the police chief, had promised the school surveillance in the school district in May in 2018. The authorities of this town arrested two teenagers, ages 13 and 14, who were students at Morales High School and who had been planning to carry out a shooting there. Why is this important? I'll tell you why. The investigation revealed that the minors identified with Eric Harris and Dylan Keeble, the Columbine killers. Years later, a massacre has occurred inside the classrooms of Uvalde, after all, despite all that security going on in there. All that stuff that happened after all, anyway. So let's talk about, Ramos here. Who's Salvador? He lived with his two maternal grandparents, in a one-story house, a few meters from the school. The assailant's mother did not live with him. Nope, but in another part of the town. His mother was going through some bad times. One of the neighbors on the street had told him that's why the grandparents were taking care of Salvador, whose father was never present in his life. I found daddy too. Almost everybody in this town speaks Spanish. Now, while I was investigating this, I keep hearing that Salvador Ramos was born in North Dakota. I keep hearing it. The more I search, I keep hearing it. But I don't know if they're talking about his dad or him. They're saying him, the kid. This would be the mother. Like I said, don't forget, they say that his mother was going through some bad times. And also know this, grandmom that he lived with owned the house that mom lived in. Ramos argued with his grandmother before committing the crime. That's how she got shot in the face. But there's a little more to that story too, so hold on to that little nugget. The young man had uploaded to social networks photographs of the weapons and had bought them in a local store. There is a local sports store. This is the first mention of that he bought these guns at a local sports store. He bought them himself. Hold on to that thought too. And that the grandmother, according to some neighbors, knew of her grandson's plans and tried to prevent him from carrying them out. Some neighbors are saying that's why he shot her in the face. That's the reason for it. We haven't heard that yet, but that's what some of the neighbors are saying. So you might have heard that here first. It might be a lot of things you hear first, because don't nobody care to talk about this kid right here, or his mother, or his father, or anything about him. He's an unknown ghost, apparently. To settle the arguments, Ramos shot his 66-year-old grandmother, who was taken to San Antonio Hospital in critical condition, and a backpack full of ammunition was left lying in the courtyard at the house. Pay attention to what I'm telling you about this kid and his background, because that is going to be more valuable than anything else. Ramos had a few jobs. He worked at Wendy's. He worked there for about a year until last month, I think. Then what they found, when they checked that out, was a portrait of a shy young kid without many friends who had difficulty establishing social relationships. A lot of employees talked to each other and are friendly. He wasn't like that, they said. I don't think anyone knew him. Hmm. The teen also did sporadic jobs with his grandfather, Rolando. That struck me as weird when I saw it on TV that Rolando didn't know much about this kid that lived in his house. The family recently mourned several deaths of close relatives, and that Rolando, the grandfather, lost his mother and his brother, Salvador's great uncle. Now, the friends of Rolando, he's an air conditioner technician. They aren't treating him too bad that the kid has done this. He's a good guy, but he was a victim. So they're not really blaming grandpa and the family about what this kid's done. That's interesting. Interesting. This is mom. She's, keeping to herself. There hasn't been a lot of posting of anything or interviews about the parents. This has to be the strangest case at that, because they're always trying to interview the killer or killers parents or people who knew them or friends or family or something to get information about them, but not in this case. Okay. Pay attention to this first one. Salvador Ramos was a good guy. Just a guy. Just a kid. But he was a victim of bullying in high school. My son tells me that he knows a boy who liked to hit on him. Please remember that many of the shooting victims were 10 years old. Most of them were 10 years old. So, maybe we need to go a little deeper. Who are Salvador Ramos' parents? They're not very known, and they understandably don't want attention brought to them, but that don't work that way, see? Usually a lot of attention is brought to them. The two parents who knew Ramos and his family described him as a serious man who often talked back to his mother in his younger years. Can it get worse? Now we're going to talk smack about him being horrible to his mom. Well, they insisted he was a good person, despite, what he just did. He dropped out because of school, because they said they were bullying him at school because of his clothes. He was a quiet person. He stuck to himself. He didn't bother nobody. People are always bothering him. And the dad adds that his son grew frustrated with the COVID precautions about a month ago and refused to speak to him. Ramos has not seen him since. His dad hadn't seen him since. And then he said, I'm never going to see him again. So he ain't never going to get to see his kid again. The father of this 18-year-old kid killed 21 people. And he wants the whole world to know he's sorry. I want the people to know that I'm sorry for what my son did. The younger Ramos reportedly had a poor relationship with his mother, and he dropped out of high school ahead of his graduation year. His father admitted he'd not spent much time with him lately because his employment was outside Uvalde. He digs holes. The dad digs holes around utility poles for inspection. That's his job. His own mother was suffering from cancer, and Ramos said he could not risk being exposed to the COVID, so that's why the kid didn't see him that much. The dad says, I never expected my son to do something like this. The dad said he should have just killed me, instead of doing something like that to somebody else. This is what the dad's saying about all of this. And to date, no. It's the deadliest school shooting in the U.S. in nearly a decade. So who is he? Still haven't figured out who is he. Who is he? Kind of looks like a sad clown right here. The shape of his mouth and just really sad. But I'll tell you something. There's more to this story. So let's talk about this and ask the questions we should be answered. Hi, dog trainer. Hi, Jill. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Looks like a sad clown right here, but let me tell you something. The enrollment records show 18-year-old authorities say he killed 19 kids, 2 teachers at the elementary school in Texas. He never attended a public school in North Dakota. Didn't I tell you earlier? Everybody keeps saying he went to elementary and middle school and all of that in North Dakota, and that he's only been going to school down here for high school. That's a lie. The media and the police or wherever getting their information is lying to us. There is no and never, he never, ever attended a public school in North Dakota, nor a private school, obviously. His friend, maybe, State Senator Roland Gutierrez, in an interview on CNN, said state police told him shooter Salvador Ramos was born in North Dakota. He did not say where. But no evidence of North Dakota. Ramos had a background. Whether Ramos had a background in North Dakota is unclear. Birth records are confidential under state law. They brought this narrative of North Dakota into the picture themselves, and people just ran with it. But there's no birth records of him in North Dakota. There's no school records of him in North Dakota. Better than that, North Dakota's Department of Public Instruction has no zero record of a student named Salvador Ramos being enrolled in a public school in the entire state, said a spokesman, Dale Wetzel. This enrollment data goes back to a minimum to 2006 or 7 school year when Mr. Ramos would have been a preschooler. There's no evidence of it. Local enrollment databases verify that Ramos did not previously attend any school in the Bismarck or Mandan public school districts. The Light of Christ Catholic School also has no record of him. So he didn't go to school anywhere, I guess. Not in North Dakota. So here we have this untruth, lie, whatever you want to call it. The police are telling us he went to school in North Dakota before he came to school down here. No, he didn't. That's an absolute lie verified by North Dakota, the state, with all kinds of evidence proving he did not go to school in North Dakota. So, what I think is that Salvador Ramos went to elementary and middle and junior high and high school in Uvalde. That's where I think he went to school at. And this is where, to me, I think the police and all these people are covering it up. They don't want us to know this is a homegrown thing, but let's keep going. Salvador Ramos was bullied. He was also called, let's just start with this. The young man was described as an emo and wore eyeliner. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what an emo is. Emo, am I saying that right, Squirrel?
Yes.
I had to ask Squirrel what an emo was. She was like doing her own job that she does that gives her freedom away from, taking care of me. And I felt like a fool, but I felt like she'd know what it was. And so she explained it to me. And emo, can you come explain better? Or how do I explain the emo?
I don't remember how exactly I explained it to you
Um,
the first time.
would it be described like a person who seems stays away from people, like emotionally detached,
Yeah, and typically they listen to
like headbanger music?
kinda, yeah,
They
wear dark clothing and
like a
eyeliner and
gothic
yeah,
type.
kind of gothic.
Okay, so let me go back to what I just said. I don't. Give me a second. I'm not perfect. Okay, so this young man was described as a emo and wore eyeliner. Okay. In this picture right here, he reminds me of how I can't think of the movie, but the guy that was in the movie, The Crow. Salvador Ramos, he was described by his classmates as a failed loner who was bullied for being poor and wearing eyeliner. Like I said, they referred to him. He was seen as an emo, and for his speech problems, made him a target and ridiculed him. Ramos even endured homosexual slurs, in addition to other taunts because of the way he dressed. I think we're getting right down here, right down to the facts of what is the core of. Hi, Jill again. Jill says, "Yep, you're right. More dark and more pessimistic outlook on life. It looks like a serial." Well, I'm just hold that thought there. I don't want to call him a serial killer because I know it's a serial killer. I know what he did, you know, but I'm trying to point everybody to see what happened to this kid. Something happened to him too, and I'm going to get to it further. So I'm not saying he's innocent, but I'm saying something happened too. And this is the most important parts to listen to is the parts about me saying, who is he really? I'm going to tell you about him really, and what I'm telling you about him is very important. Um, all right, so a classmate of his has said bullying him about his clothes and his financial situation. Um, he like wouldn't go to school and he just like slowly dropped out. He barely claimed to school. Um, Here again, he had a one friend that he was distant, but they played Xbox together, stuff like that. One class makes a lot of his classmates when they talked about him, they wanted to do it anonymously. But every time they talked about it, it was about him being bullied, horrifically bullied, horrific bully. And they said they can't really share specific details publicly publicly, and that was a big concern of for me. I just was. But anyway, let's get on with it. He got there were a lot of signs in his gaming world. Um, a female Instagram friend told a newspaper, I do know someone that used to play Call of Duty with him online, and he talked about school shootings at the time, but everyone in the games always thought he was joking. Um, but let's just get. Are y'all painting a picture of what I see? Can you see it yet? Technically, he doesn't meet the criteria of a serial killer like Ramirez did. Yeah, that's not it. I'm coming. I'm building up on something here, Jill. I need Jill's my Jill. You started me on this path yesterday, so there's something really here, and it's gonna come together at the end. And I don't think people are gonna like it. I don't think people are gonna agree with it. And but it's the facts I found. So you have this 18 student who purchased AR-15 as soon as he became legal. As soon as, within 2 days, in a state that does not require a license to carry. It doesn't. Doesn't require a license. That's not the problem. We're not getting into a whole school, fight over, you know, um, the gun law, okay? This isn't the gun law I'm talking about here. There's something deeper and worse at the table here than gun laws. I promise you that. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I know this school has um, cameras, and I can't wait till the videos come out if they allow them to come out. Because there's one example, like one of the children who died told a local news station that an officer, get this, an officer instructed kids to yell out if they needed help, and one of the kids who did was discovered. She yelled out help, and he shot her. Mm-mm-mm. This not even funny, man. And this is one of the things I understand that we have a problem in America with mental illness. Okay, I do, I really do. But we're not done yet. We're not even to that part yet. Okay, take a minute and read these entries that I have from one of the Discord things. Squirrel, why is my
Mhm.
tag missing right here so nobody can steal my stuff?
That comes onto there after the video's uploaded.
Oh, okay. This is from his Discord.
That's
From
someone's Instagram about his Discord.
This is from another student's Instagram about his Discord. I'm gonna read the first part of it for those who are listening and can't see it. Um, it says the user's tag is MTV Santos, Santoss. Says, this is what I heard. It's not coming from me, so not saying names, not replying, nothing. This is not going through my head, and it's so crazy to think about. So I thought I might share it. Salvador was supposed to kill all the seniors during the senior walk on Tuesday at Robb Elementary. I myself did not attend the senior walk because of my absence. But just to think if he had done it the day before, so many of my classmates would not be here now. And I know my class would have protected all the little ones. But he got the wrong date, from what I heard, and ended up killing so many innocent children and a teacher. I don't want to imagine what was going through those kids' heads during the shooting. They must be so traumatized. My prayers go out to the victims, families that experience this. Other the side says, again, I'm just saying that I heard, so I don't know if he intended to hurt and kill those kids, or was he trying to kill my class? But either other way, it's a lose lose because people still would have been dead. He also said, and I've got nothing to do with the shooting that happened yesterday, so I don't want anyone accusing me just because he messaged me 2 hours before the shooting happened. I'm just blessed to have my life, to have my little sister alive. That's in the third grade. Me and her just happened to have a dentist appointment yesterday at 10 a.m. So we did not go to school. And sorry for all the, I don't know what that word is, goes on, couldn't make it. They didn't deserve any of this. I hope that piece of shit burned in fucking hell forever. It's very important to read this. This kid, whoever he is, he knew something. He knew something he should have told. Because in the line where he says Salvador was supposed to kill all the seniors during the senior walk on Tuesday at Robb Elementary, he should have reported this. Here comes something else. This is from the Discord. So essentially, I followed him on his socials and was in his Discord server. And he kept reposting the Buffalo stream this week. And at one point, he changed his profile to Peyton. And before that, he had Eric's rehab drawing. And he didn't really post actual posts about it, but he would post stories whenever a shooting happened and say something like, finally, America's living up to its full potential, or something along those lines, but he would delete it soon after. As far as the Discord, he invited a bunch of people to it on his birthday because that's when he bought the rifles and was just sharing pics of some of them and stuff. And I know he did listen to KMFDM and Ramstein as well as Blade. So yeah, I would say he was in the TCC, but not as far as having a separate account for it. He just filled a lot of people like me on our personal accounts. So here it is. This kid was in trouble. This kid was a victim of his own demise. We can label whatever. We have things that are not being answered, not even by me. And I've been digging in this world on this kid. And I still don't know answers. Could this have been prevented? You're damn right. Because the truth of it is this: there is no North Dakota story. If it is, it's probably his dad, since they share the same name. Or it's a BS story to hide something. And I know the flag I think they're trying to hide. It's in my opinion, and I think I found more evidence to prove my opinion than whatever BS I'm going to see on the news or listen to the cops. Because they're telling a flat ass lie to people. How about we go through the many stages of how this could have been prevented, and let's see if it counts. I think he went to elementary and middle school and junior high school here at the town he grew up in. I think he was bullied, like he says, his friends tell about it. These are the kids that grew up in the school system with him, in the same grades as him. They know he was bullied. They know why he was bullied. They saw him being bullied. They watched it all. Someone knew in that Discord that he was going to hurt someone in the day the graduates were walking at the Robb Elementary School, and no one reported what they knew. I wonder how they feel now. It's all fun and games till somebody gets hurt. There is a lot of things that could have happened to prevent this. This didn't have to happen. Yeah, Salvador Ramos is as big a victim as he is a murderer. But that's the truth, whether you want to hear it or not, whether you want to believe it or not. Let's go through the stages it could have been prevented. He was bullied all the way up to the time he made a decision to do something. It's a fact. All his friends know it. How about the fact that he cut his face when he was in high school? He went to the park. People asked him, "What happened to you?" He said, "I did it myself." Did anybody report that? No, you just counted him as weird. Oh, my friend cut his face up, because he wanted to. Why didn't you tell your parents? Why didn't you tell somebody at school what he did to himself? Why didn't a teacher ask him, "What happened to your face?" And I guess he told you, "My little kitty, the one I killed, um, cut up his face." No, he cut his face with knives. That ain't gonna look like no kitten. Come on. How come no teacher reported that? Oh, is this when he started his uh missing school, program? So nobody would notice the things that he was doing? Well, hey, why didn't y'all find, your teacher? Somebody's missing. Why don't you do your job? I know when I was a young kid, they labeled all the kids that they thought were bad and wasn't worth their time. They just let them slip through the fingers as long as they didn't have to mess with them. And I'm assuming that this right here is the same kind of situation. So teachers want respect. Of course they do. They have a hard job, but damn, you don't deserve respect for something you let fall to the side. Sorry. That's the truth. How about when he bought the guns? How about the seller of the gun, the local sports store, instead of, being happy he sold $4,000 worth of guns today? How about the guy that came in there with big scars on his face because he cut his face up, at a previous time? How how about you call the police and say, you know, shit, I fucked up and sorry. Why didn't you report it? You sold the two guns because everybody every day when the guy comes in there looking like a crow, like the crow from the guy from the Crow comes in there and buys two semi-assault rifles. That happens every day. Um, and then come and buys 300 rounds of ammo, and then comes back and orders 700. So he has 1,000 rounds. Yeah, that's normal. How about we report that? Gotta find my mouse so I can get down here where Jill is. Jill says, "Do you think the doors were normally locked?" No. How could he have predicted the teacher would have left it open? I would suspect the dark web, faces of death, snuff films, and maybe devil stuffs as well. Um, it's gonna be weird about that because the thing is, an hour earlier, the seniors were doing their walkthrough graduation in the Rob school. They were doing the Rob Elementary. The seniors were doing their walkthrough. This is where seniors who are graduating high school go to the elementary school. This is how you know it's a small community. They walk through the hallways and through all the classrooms of the elementary, middle school. I guess it's a combined school, and tell all those teachers thank you and all that. They do it every year, so I would assume that maybe since they did it every year, that he maybe have known the procedures. I mean, he didn't go to school, but that doesn't mean he wasn't around the school when they did it every year. He could have been making this plan then. But at first, I couldn't figure out why, if he wrecked his truck, that he went to the school. He went to the school because, like the kid said in the other message, he went there because the seniors were walking the hallways. Um, the graduating class was walking the hallway saying thank you to something they were doing there. The thing of it is, either he got the day wrong or the time wrong. That's what we're talking about here. He either got the day or the time wrong. Because if he'd have got it right, there'd been a lot more bodies. Number 3, the buying of guns by the seller. You telling me that seller couldn't call nobody and you could sell your guns and then how about you call the police? Well, it isn't illegal to buy the guns. No, but how about it? You weren't comfortable. If I was a seller, I wouldn't have been comfortable. I wouldn't have been comfortable at all. Jill, I compare him as possibly similar to my cousin who murdered my family. This guy is more quiet and reserved, though. My cousin is sociopath. He seems more psychotic. Socio. My cousin is a sociopath. He seems more psychotic, in my opinion. Have worked with kids like this kid was dead quiet right here. Dead quiet. He never talked. Almost every kid, every person who interacted with him says he never talked. And they blamed it on the fact that he had a lisp. Um, how about the friends on the Discord that are read to you guys? How about, did any of them need to tell? How about this kid? Should he have told about what he knew? Salvador was supposed to kill all the seniors during the senior walk on Tuesday at Robb Elementary. I myself didn't attend. Oh, well, okay, we don't have to tell nobody because I wasn't attending. How about this one? Anybody or any of these two could have saved the whole thing. How about Grandma knew because she knew he bought the guns? She had to have. I think he stole her credit card or something. I don't know. Because then leads me to the next question. Where in the heck did he get $10,000 to buy guns at a local store? Where did he get all that? The guns. Where did he get the gun? $10,000. Where did he get, you know, uh, um, where did he get the money? And all the money, not just the guns, the ammo, that amount of ammo as well. That ain't no joke ammo. That's 5.25 rounds. It's not a joke. I don't think there's 4 or 5 pictures on the internet about this kid. Nobody may want to hear this, but this is my opinion. And I got a lot of evidence to back it up. You may not want to hear it. You may not like it. But there's so many questions left unanswered. And I'm not done trying to find the answers either. But the biggest victim in all of this, the biggest one, is right here, this kid. I know nobody wants to hear that because they're like, oh, he can't be a victim because he's the killer. Yeah, he did. He murdered all that. He killed them. He murdered them all. I think that he went to that particular classroom because maybe when he was in that school, that was his classroom. I think the door was opportunity. Or maybe he knew that. Maybe, the teachers have done it for so long when they get complacent and comfortable in doing the same things that they do at the end of the year. Maybe it doesn't matter. That door open was an open opportunity. I kept thinking, maybe a truck just happened to break down there, and that's why he went in, in there to that school, and that's why, that's why, he went in there because he just happened to. Well, he didn't happen to. Once I figured out about the seniors walking through the hallways, and this is what they normally do. This is what they normally do every year. And his grandma having a fight with him about graduating, and him going there where the graduation class is walking the hallways. And these are the kids who've growed up, but yet where they started picking on him and bullying him is at the very school they're walking through. The past met up with the future. I think the police are hiding a lot of information about this kid because they don't want you to know that he's a victim too. He was invisible most of his life. Well, up until it ended. The teachers ignored the bullying that happened to him. How do you miss a kid with knife marks down his face? There's too many people that could have stood up in the end and stopped it. The kid in this, let me find it. The kid in here, he knew about it. He knew about it. Salvador was supposed to kill all the seniors during the senior walk on Tuesday at Robb Elementary. He knew about it. His mom knew that he was silent. Grandma knew he was silent. Where'd he get $10,000 from to buy all this? The man, the local, sports store guy where he bought the weapon should have called and said, "Look, I don't know if this is normal or not, man. It could be a false. I might be blowing it out of proportion, but this kid just coming here, he just turned 18. It's legal for him to buy it. I know, but he just made me uncomfortable." Oh, and he ordered $300, 300 rounds. Million things could have been done. I'm going to keep digging on this case too until I figure out, what is still missing. I'm trying to see, I'm a little behind here. Let me see where that's normally locked. I'm coming, Jill, I'm coming. I never compare. Let's see, such person. I like that one. Okay. Wish we knew more about the biological dad. It was hard to find him, period. I think the culture around the sale of those weapons is very casual. Yeah, but it's very casual for like a handgun, a shotgun, or something. But those weapons to the kid with knife marks down his face, come on. Uh, he doesn't live far. I mean, the dad lives 12 miles down the road, give or take. He's not far. Emos tend to talk darker, and I think the kids get used to it and don't really believe it. Good question about the money. I've seen a number of these kids who are much more a product of nature than I hate today. Say that some are honestly born with this, and the catalyst lies with the nature confident, aka upbringing. They should have school records if he attended their angry jealousy of seniors if he. Well, this shit, they genetics with biodeg. It might be interesting, but we ain't getting it. We ain't getting that. I barely found what I found on Dad, and Grandpa, he don't even want to talk about that. Grandpa that he lived with doesn't want to talk about him. Barely Dad talked about him, and no, I didn't even find no uncle. This is like the most untalked about kid I've ever seen. Usually, when think about it, when the Columbine kids killed, everybody was talking and everybody wanted to know about him and they wanted to find any piece of paper you can find about him. Literally, this kid was freaking invisible. There is no information. No, we don't. No, we don't. Everything I gave you today is what we have on the mother, the grandmother's husband, the mother's boyfriend, and that's it. There's no info. Do we know about the religion? No, nobody really interviewed them like normal. Sorry, I think it's a lemonade. Whew. The mother was not interviewed. The grandpa was interviewed. The grandma still hasn't been interviewed yet. And mother's boyfriend was interviewed. So the two people interviewed was grandpa and boyfriend. And dad. I forgot that. 3 men. But if you put it together, it wouldn't be enough information to make a honey bun or a cupcake. It's like they don't want to talk about this kid. They don't want you to know about them. And it's by nature that, where they are 6 miles from the border, they might would talk to a Spanish reporter maybe more openly. But from my experience, they're not real talkers about stuff when they're located where they are. You know, I think Squirrel that he'd been talking like that for so long and likely connected with other dark twisted souls, so it was fairly standard talk. Specific scary though. I think no one took him seriously. Or this guy in this MTV Santos. Um, it's more like a guy challenge. Like, yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I know you're supposed to. But I don't think so, though. I think, too many people don't take responsibility of what they hear. We can say these kids didn't. We can say that about the kids, okay? Jill and Squirrel. We can say that about the kids, all right? We can say no one probably took it seriously, but that's no excuse for the adults. No excuse for the adults whatsoever. Well, what did they do wrong? Nothing. You know, the guy who sold him the guns, he did nothing wrong. He made I don't know, $4,000 sale. Woohoo, good for you. But you also have another option. You can sell it, make the money, good, great, you made the money. But another option is to say that, call the sheriff or somebody after that and say, you know, something ain't right. Jill says another thing is that people who connect via some of these on platforms are doing illegal internet searching and watching stuff. Well, mm, I'm not saying that the kids being involved at all would be taken seriously because I don't think they would. But the adults have no excuse. The guy who sold him the guns at the um sports store has no freaking excuse for not being. If I was the guy at the sports store, seeing him and the look of him with the scars down his face, asking for two ARs on, that's not a normal purchase. It's not a normal purchase at all. The same gun, one with a laser. I never seen somebody take, needing a laser. Jill, and remember, even if reported, you can tell them that he didn't mean it. He was just talking like that. And mental health rights impede the actions that well, he didn't say anything to the gun guy. So if it was me, I'd just been calling because I think something's wrong, and I would make it that way. That's just. I'm not saying the kid did something. I'll say he didn't, but the boy's got down his face. Okay, there are signs there. There are a lot of signs there. I just don't think we put people in the right place to maybe talk to kids like I talk to a kid. As a vet, I talk to a kid differently. And unfortunately, kids talk to me with confidence and they're not scared to talk to me. I guess because they know I ain't going to rat them out. Maybe that's the problem. They know I'm not going to rat them out, you know. Gun towns is one thing, but in those gun type towns, you don't ask questions and you don't rat on anyone because they are very much other freedom. Now this is 17, 2 day old, 18-year-old. No, not good enough. Not good enough. Along with 300 rounds, nope, not good enough. That gun guy should have told, even if it meant nothing. If it was an adult, okay. This kid, no way. Wasn't good enough answer for me. The amount of bullying that he through is just undeniable. This is a poster child for um this kid was a poster child for bullying. It just affected him in there's he just was a poster child for bullying and everybody knew. If Jill, we would, but the gun owner doesn't operate like that. It's an odd culture. Yeah, well. How many days before he buys the gun? He bought him on his birthday. That's what it says in some of the text. And his grandma took him to Applebee's and all that stuff. And it was on his birthday or within. Yeah, it was on his birthday. He couldn't buy him before his birthday. But he bought him on his birthday, is what I read. I mean, I know people are different than me. They're going to say that, it's Texas, we always, everybody, my 10-year-old has a gun. Okay, whatever. I understand that. But if you look at the epic events that junior, elementary, and middle and all go to this one school, and the graduating high school class was doing a walk through every room in the hallway of this school, and this kid crashed there, and he was going to have a shootout with those high schools. This is an epic proportion of the past coming all to one place. Like, I'm thinking the bullying started in the room that he went to. It's kind of like looking at your future and your past at the same time. Like, he became delusional at that point or something. I'm not saying he was delusional when he shot. He knew what he was doing. I'm just saying this kid is the poster boy for why we need to do more work for kids who are being bullied. I have seen teachers with my own eyes turn their back on a kid getting bullied because they don't want to deal with it either. And that is not good enough. I'm a big supporter of waiting periods and have done research on de escalation, but usually in more. Yeah, I think we should have waiting period. But I think I learned from this case right here of what I've got, and I got stuff other people ain't even talking about. Anybody talking about this? I'm the only one. What is everybody else talking about? They're talking about the victims. But he's a victim too. He's the biggest victim. And we all talk about, bullying's gotta stop. I'm sick of the talk. This right here is a perfect example of talking cheap. This is bullying on an epic proportion for many years from the age of the children he shot. He was bullied from 10 years old. And he held all that. It affected him in his clothing, in his speaking, in going to school, and in every aspect of his life. And he carried it within him for 8 years. We all wait to be old enough so we can, I can't wait till I'm 50, whatever, to drive the car by myself. I can't wait till I can get 18 and do whatever silly shit. I'm sorry. Um, and I couldn't, with 17, I went in the military, stuff like that. But who in the world is in so much pain? Can we comprehend that they're in so much pain that all they dream about is getting to their 18th birthday so that they can buy guns and kill all the people that have hurt them? Is anybody getting that visual yet? That he probably went to how can nobody know where he went to elementary, middle, and junior high? We're gonna bring up a weird North Dakota story, and he never went there because you're just trying to hide the fact that you didn't do anything. You screwed up and took an hour to go in here. You failed even then. You failed the kids again, taking an hour to go in. Plus, even if it couldn't have been prevented. They still should have tried to investigate his living situation. I'm not familiar with their child protection laws, but well, yeah, they should have done that, but they probably just lumped it all together. Oh, they're all poor and didn't. They just left him alone, and they have no they just left it alone because he was a poor Spanish kid 6 miles from the border. I just can hear it now. And I heard that border patrol agents went into the school while all this was going on and got their own kids out while they were tackling parents and tasing them to not go into school for their kids. A little one-sided, eh? Jill, sure that school enrollment stuff will come out around our area. Homeschoolers are often suspect. I think you're safer. He wasn't homeschooled. He wasn't doing any school. He wasn't being homeschooled. Not at all. He just wasn't going to school. I think kids are safer being homeschooled these days. I thought that for a couple of years, not because of, bullies, but honestly, you're safer because the teachers don't do their job to it, bullies. The teachers bully the bullies themselves. Joe says, could the teachers have been scared of his family? Scared of what? There's only grandma, the grandpa, um, the daughter had her boyfriend, and I don't know what they'd be afraid of, unless they're just afraid of that culture or just ignored it. I think all of that. I think they're scared of the family because they have to go into the poor neighborhood of poor people. They think they're too good. I think they just ignored it, participated in it, and turned a blind eye. I've seen a teacher bully and pick on a kid. Once they left that teacher in the school, they, moved up to the next grade, and I've seen it. It's freaking ridiculous. Teachers bullying an ex-student in their new school. What the? I'm still gonna do further research, so I'm not done with this for sure. But I found Dad. I haven't heard about Grandma yet. Um, so Jill, you poked me yesterday, but I just can't believe there's no. This is an invisible kid. Even the news people didn't do their job. They got to talk to him. I wish I could have talked to him. I wouldn't know. But they didn't even investigate him. They're like, oh, okay, whatever. Just whatever. Jill, it was a number of years ago that there were more concerning isolation with homeschooling. Oh, there are homes and people who you visit that are scary. I've had guns pulled on me. Well, so have I, Jill. But there isn't a solution to some things. Rural families are usually the ones that scare me the most. Thank you. We'll learn lots as time goes on. Well, some things we won't, Joe, because I'm going to tell you right now, the police are hiding things for sure. I think we're not finding a lot of this stuff because the cops don't want us to know that they failed epically. Epically. Crazy gossip and inaccurate info now. Oh, I haven't even been listening to it because I've been researching and trying to find, his mom, his dad, and going down these holes of, you know, of trying to find out all I can on this kid, and there's no info. As social workers, we weren't armed. Oh, I think they should be. Yeah, cops should be. Exactly. There's something that's not right, and I'm really confused about why the police are trying to send us down the rabbit hole of North Dakota. Maybe the father was born in North Dakota because they have the same first name, but there is absolutely nothing about this kid in North Dakota proven by the the system. Nothing whatsoever. So I heard it was the Rangers. Who's doing the law enforcement investigation? Sounds like no, I heard it was the Rangers. That's what I heard this morning. I think they're going to try to keep doing the huge conflict of interest. I don't think they want us to know who's in charge. We had the man giving the meeting this morning, and maybe I can play it tomorrow. The big, it was live today and just kept being live. They didn't stop the live on it. Oh, but it was horrible. It was huge fighting and all this stuff. He deserved it though because he wasn't really answering the question. So I hope tomorrow when I come on that I can have it a part of my show. I'm not done with this. I'm not done with it at all because I'm more upset about now that I can't find out more info about this kid. I mean, I've never seen anything more invisible. That's all I know. He's invisible. I mean, we've seen him. We see him. We know he wrecked the truck. We know he walked in the back of the school. We know he's dead. But who is he? Just Jill said the police top guy made it sound like other that they know. Huh. Sneaky. Thank you. They're hiding. They don't want anybody to know about this kid. They don't want anybody to know about this kid because knowing about this kid will prove that they epically failed him since he was in the middle school. They failed him epically to protect him, to educate him, to make him feel like a person. And by failing him and not making him feel like a human, because obviously he was made to feel that way by the time he reached high school. He cut his own face, and didn't care because to him he was a thing, not a person. That's what he thought of himself, as a thing. Unbelievable. I'm gonna do more digging on this kid for sure. I'm not done. Yes, schools, social services, law enforcement, they all failed. 100%. But I think the law is hiding. His family failed him as well, yeah, but I think it's deeper than that. I think the law does not want us to know how they got $450,000 worth of film and security and all kinds of stuff, and social services is not even in the picture. Schools where he was bullied, that's the biggest story that I hear regarding him. No matter what is told or asked of someone, they mention of how horribly he was bullied. They can't even really describe it exactly, Jill. That's exactly what this was. A perfect storm by an invisible force. They are definitely, I think that's what they're hiding. I the money is very suspicious, but I think the thing they're hiding is this kid, if that makes any sense. They don't want us to dig in this kid. They don't want us to follow the the kid. They don't want us to know about the kid. They want us to forget him. They just want us to know he went in there shopping and not forget him. He's nobody. He's a killer. That's all they want us to know. This is not enough. They are hiding something. The money's suspicious. I'm not gonna give up now. No way. It's too suspicious. And there's a totally different young girl living in the grandpa's house, a grandma and grandpa's house as well. And it's not their kid. So, you know, Jill, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I really started to wonder. I still wonder in a way because of the girl that's living in the house of grandma and grandpa. And I can't believe that grandma owns mom's house, the one that mom lives in, right? So I'm just puzzled by this. It really starts to make me wonder if there is like, yes, it is odd. I'm just wondering if these kids are traffic kids. I'm just gonna say it like that. We're 6 miles from the border. Is this part of some traffic thing? Is that why you don't want us to know about this kid? Is that really grandma and grandpa? Is that really mom and dad? And how is mom and dad dirt ass poor? The kid is bullied to death because he's horrifically poor. Yet grandma owns the house that mom lives in. So she's not poor, she's a owner. There's another girl that lives in the house that haven't seen a picture of yet, but heard about it in one. Oops, shouldn't have told that. Grandpa didn't mention it. He's very shady. He's scared. He doesn't really want to talk. Mom hasn't spoken yet. Grandma was trying to kick mom out of the house she lives in. Grandma still hasn't said anything yet. look at how young mom and grandma look, like they had kids at age 12. Exactly. I'm sorry. I didn't want to talk about it, but I just said it. I'm wondering if there's something else here. I'm wondering if this is something we're not supposed to know about. And I wonder if that's why the police don't want to get involved and haven't gotten involved to the way it is. I don't know if that family has some power, but maybe that grandma. I didn't know that grandma walked across the street to get help either. I don't know that they fear the family for some reason. I know there's a lot of money that kid had. Mom's accused of using drugs. The kid had $10,000. How do you not get in trouble or the police cause trouble for not basically going to school most of your life? Anytime lots of cash is bad news. Exactly. That's a good question. May not be a question I can find either because they don't want me to. I think a lot of info is going to come out when grandma gets up. This is too hush hush. Too hush hush. There's there's just too much that this kid's got to be worth more than nothing. He deserves my attention to look at. It's an educational chip on our state. Well, they ain't an educational chip on anybody's state if they don't go to school, right? Well, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get back to work and I'm going to dig on this more. I think need to find more about grandma. Basically, a child in need of protective services if the kid doesn't get education. Exactly. I think this kid needed a lot and they didn't get it, you know? Hmm. Wow. I think I lost squirrel. I'm making sure I and this one, all he does is this is that. He digs holes for telephone poles and he's a couple of miles away. So little just something's not right. How could none of the cops be brave enough? I was discussing that. You didn't even have to go in to reach it. I mean, somebody they had a big military vehicle there. They could have pulled the window right out from outside. Yeah, Grandpa is suspect. I think he's scared. I think he's scared to death. Well, right, that is an interesting piece of puzzle. He sure is. He's a very big piece of puzzle. How are you really, honestly, 12 miles down the road from your son and you don't go see him? I don't even think he's that far. So, with that, I'm going to get out of here and go do some more investigation. And I will, well, see y'all on the next adventure of this. What is this? How come they haven't done a live interview with mom? Um, that's a good question. No one's asked mom anything. Just says mom's surprised and sad about it. How come the mom didn't know the son was killed? Because she said she was going out to find her kid when she left the hospital. How did she not be informed that her child was killed? She said, I'm going to leave from here and go find my son. Um, did nobody tell her? It's kind of weird. That's weird. No, thank you, Jill. Thank you. You put me on this road, and that's just how we got to go. I got to go find now. Now you got me on a military hunt. That's a real good question. Okay, well, y'all have a great day and a good night. We have blessings. Don't let anybody getting in your way finding out the truth. I may be back this evening. Not with this case. I'm be out here on this case tomorrow. Deal. I will be here. With the case. So don't worry about that. I'm not giving up on this kid. Everybody else, I'm down the rabbit hole. There's no doubt about that.
Down the rabbit hole, huh?
I'm down the rabbit hole.
I had to charge my phone, so I was mysteriously silent.
I'm down the rabbit hole. Hold on, let's see it. Sorry about that. I got lost for a second on my microphone. Yeah, this makes no sense. I'm going down the rabbit hole. I'm not even going to tie a rope to my foot.
Well, you're gonna be down the rabbit hole, and I'm gonna be doing my gaming on my channel, my part.
That's probably safe.
It probably is safe. I'm
think
safer over there.
I think yesterday with you got kind of worried, didn't you?
No.
You didn't get worried about the kid?
About what?
About the kid. Like I had all that stack of paperwork.
Oh. Yeah, I was like, wow.
What do you think about it? What's your impression on it?
About the case? Well, I call it a case, but
Now it's a case now. Jill made it a
I've
case.
kind of stayed out of it just because I don't ever do well with like sad stuff. And so I'm like I'm listening, but I'm like staying emotionally out of it.
Okay.
But logically,
You think it's a drug cartel problem? Just right on out there with it.
well, logically, I think that like how is there so little information? Like y'all are doing like the what do you call it? Police are doing these press conference things, telling the information they have, but it's basically what we already know and nothing new.
My favorite was the news conference where the guy told every little bit of detailed timeline, what time this gnat landed, a mosquito flew by here, and he was on it, right? And then he told this about the other timeline, and he was good about the kids. And then here was the timeline about the shooter. And he said two things and then moved on.
Pretty much, yeah.
I was like, how you got two things? This the day the truck crashed, this the time you went in the building, and then moved on to something else. I'm like,
yeah, because you did all that research and stuff last night, which I'm assuming you're gonna keep doing again.
Oh yeah.
And so you did all that research last night and like had all this stuff, and then I printed it out, and yeah, you did your thing with it, and I didn't realize it was that much until I started printing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, you really dug into a rabbit hole.
Well, I'm not done with that rabbit hole. It's all Jill. Jill started all
Jill,
this.
you did start this.
Jill,
it's not a bad thing.
Jill, you just learned that asking me a question is sometimes not a good thing, because I was thinking something was wrong already. You just gave me the open door or open window to the open window to go ahead and talk about it, because I wanted to talk about it. Yep, squirrel and having a young woman staying with grandpa around is always weird. I'm glad I understand that. I hate to assume, but it's commonly creepy.
Yeah, was there like didn't they have a girl living?
Yeah, they
in
have
the house
a
with
girl.
them?
That was only mentioned once. See how my mind works? Because I was like, what? There's a girl there? Yeah. Yes. They're yeah, the grandpa was the one who mentioned it.
Right.
And I was like, wait, there's a girl there living on what?
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
I mean, what floorboard do you have her hid under?
But I have to go check something, so I'll be back.
I don't remember which thing you said. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna get on out of here, and sorry if I just took a lemonade sip. Okay, but I'm gonna get out of here. I just said that, but I'm trying to figure out which song I'm playing out of here. I forgot. I'm just gonna play this song. Yeah, I'm gonna play this song and let it roll me out, and I will be back with more on this case. I hope tomorrow, Jill. I'm going looking. Well, that would seem normal. I mean, she's young, but it's I don't know how young the girl is. I don't. Yeah, I just got to search this. I need grandma to speak. You're welcome. Anytime. Anytime. All right. Peace out. Peace out.
Now I know that I can't make you stay, but where's your heart? But where's your heart? But where's your... And I know there's nothing I can say to change that part, to change that part, to change. So many bright lights to cast a shadow, but can I speak? Is it hard understanding I'm incomplete? A life that's so demanding, I get so weak. A love that's so demanding, I can't speak. I am not afraid to keep on living. I am not afraid to walk this world alone. If you stay, I'll be forgiven. Nothing you can say can stop me going home. Can you say my eyes are shining bright? 'Cause I'm out here on the other side of a... Now come on, come all to this tragic affair. Wipe off that makeup, what's in is despair. So throw on the black dress, mix in with the lot. You might wake up and notice you're someone you're not. If you look in the mirror and don't like what you see, you can find out firsthand what it's like to be me. So gather round, piggies, and kiss this goodbye. I'd encourage your smiles, I'd expect you won't cry. Another contusion, my funeral jag. Here's my resignation, I'll serve it in drag. You've got front row seat